My first major action as your next mayor of London is to create the great celebration. 31 days celebrating the best of London's music, art, culture, food, technology, commerce, and more. We're gonna get 20 million people coming into London over 31 days. It's gonna showcase the best of what London does, the best of what Britain does, and it's completely going to change the game. Mr. Mayor, when will you debate me? You have failed London when it comes to keeping our streets safe. You have failed to build affordable homes. You have broken our transport infrastructure, and you have no plan to rebuild our economy. Let's have an open and honest debate, and we can let the people decide. I am challenging. We can do this anytime, anyhow, anywhere. There's a lot of candidates that are jumping into this race and telling you what's wrong with London. And that's easy to say what's wrong with London, but what are the solutions? What are your solutions to put more police on our streets? What are your solutions to rebuild our economy? What are your solutions to make our streets safer? What are your solutions to fix our bankrupt transport network? I am the one with the answers. I have more answers than the Conservative candidate, the Labour candidate, and all the other people that toss their hats into this race. I've been out here with you campaigning for almost 6 months. I've been doing this. These are real ideas. I know how to hold people accountable. I am the only person who can make these changes, and I am the only person who can beat Sadiq Khan on May 6th. He knows it, I know it, and now the voters know it too. Now we just need to make it happen.
One, two, three. Listen.
Welcome to the Brian for Mayor Digital Battle Bus. Welcome to Battle Bus Live. I am Brian Rosen. We are live here on the Brian for Mayor Digital Battle Bus. Today, I'm going through the boroughs of Croydon, of Lambeth, and of Southwark as well. It's been a long day. I've been seeing some super cool people. Want to give a big shout out to Fatima and Dexter, who I just saw at the Revivify Community Food Bank. Amazing people. Really got to understand the issues they were facing. They're very frustrated with the lack of funding and the lack of attention they're getting from the mayor. Then I went on to see my good friend Eliza. She's the founder of, there it is, Lives Not Knives. She runs an incredible group in Croydon. She's been doing this for 14 years. And I got to sit down with her team and her staff and find out really what are they struggling with when it comes to keeping knife crime down, to really working with these teenagers. And that's what the issue was all about. So big thanks to them. I'm gonna be answering your questions. Make sure you type your questions into me because they're gonna come live here right on my iPad, and I'm gonna be talking with you directly. Today, I wanna talk about some of my big ideas. These are really going to change the game in London. The first is how I am going to completely rebuild the economy. I'm going to kickstart growth, and that's really around what I'm calling the Great Celebration of London. This is the 31-day event that's going to happen in August, celebrating the great things in London. I'm talking about 20 million people are going to be coming through this city for music festivals, for food festivals, for street fairs, celebrating the best of our culture, the best of our innovation, the best of our technology. It's all happening, and I'm super excited to talk to you about that today. Next, I'm going to talk about my plan to put 10,000 new police officers on the street, but not just that. I want to take the Metropolitan Police and make them better trained and fully digitized. This is going to free up the time they need for better training when it comes to dealing with communities, the same kind of things I was talking with Eliza today at her Lives Not Knives charity. So we're going to talk about that. Next, I'm going to talk about my Corporate for Communities plan to inject 100 million pounds from corporate donations into our community centers, much like the ones I saw today in Croydon. It's going to change the game. It's also going to change our entire status when it comes to knife crime, and I'm looking forward to dropping those things on you today. So here we are, folks. We are literally 45 days away from this election on May 6th. We are very close. We're currently in second place and moving into first. But I need you to share this video right now. I need you to share this with all of your friends and family because we're going up some big battles here. We got the two-party system coming after us, and they're both coming after us. But we're really excited with the progress we've made. And I'm going to be on this bus every single day until the election. bringing these ideas from you. Again, ask me your questions right now. Ask me your hard questions and make sure that I give you the right answers, because that's my job as your next mayor of London. I want to share with you a couple of things we've been doing. First of all, here's a picture of me out at Cromwell Road, and this is one of our brand new outdoor sites. This thing is massive, and what I like most about it is that it shows off 4 of our key policies. This whole outdoor advertisement is like 100 meters long. We're in 20 plus boroughs all around the city. You're going to see our ads everywhere. By the way, if you see any of our outdoor ads, digital or billboards, or if you see our bus, take a picture, post it on your social, and hashtag Brian for Mayor. I'm giving away prizes and mugs like this one here and t-shirts. So I'm really looking forward to sending that stuff to you and sharing that with you. This is the largest digital outdoor campaign in British political history, and we're super proud of everything we've done here with the team. Let me show you a quick video of what it looks like to be in this outdoor advertisement on Cromwell Road. It's very impressive, and here is a look at it right now. And there you go. That's the largest digital outdoor campaign in British political history. We're so happy about it. We're super thrilled. People literally honk their horns when they're going by there. And when I walk down those sidewalks, it's a really crazy time, and I really appreciate everyone's support. Also, if you hadn't got the news already, we are back on the brand new digital battle bus, and you can see already it's a different look. Here's what it looks like from the outside. It's a new me. It's a new look of London, and everyone seems to really love it. We're driving around in it today for the first time ever, and yeah, everyone's just blown away by the fact that we're out here in the streets engaging with the public. No other candidate that is running for mayor dares to go out in the public and speak like I am, because either they don't have the policies to back it up, or they're worried that someone's going to literally chase them down the street, which is what happened to our mayor recently. He had to run and hide from his own voters. Instead, we're out there actually engaging with members of the public, because I think it's important as your next mayor for me to listen to you and for me to serve as well. So that's what the bus looks like. Also, things are super busy back at the headquarters. We got our volunteers that are really making a huge difference. They're out there passing out leaflets. They're on the phone with us. If you want to join my team and be a volunteer, seriously, we could use you. Go to brianformayor.london/volunteers. I've got people all over the world. If you're in London, even better, but we need support from everywhere. I've got people in Brazil. I got people in Budapest. I got people in Bangladesh, all supporting Brian for Mayor in London, and we're really excited. Next thing I want to tell you about is our very first edition of our own newspaper. Here it is, the London Real Courier. You can see it here in all its glory, and I'll put a shot up on the screen here for you as well. This is what it looks like. And for those, you can see it here. This is our own newspaper that's going to be going through the mail slots of 250,000 Londoners this week. And it's not the first edition. You got everything in here. You got me going out in the community. You even got your own Sudoku right here. So you can get in there and get busy with that thing. We're super proud of this and all of the great messaging that we're putting out there. So definitely go grab your copy of that. And like I said, these are going out to people all over London. We'll have a couple more editions coming as well, and we're super excited. And finally, people say, Brian, how can I get a coffee cup? How can I get one of those fancy booklets? How can I get a t-shirt? It's super easy. Go to brianformayor.london and just give a donation, whether it's £5 or £500. We can really use it. It helps us print these leaflets up. It helps us get the message out to the public, and I'll send you some free swag just to say thank you. Also, you can order stickers at brianformayor.london/stickers, and you can stick them wherever you want. And finally, you can go and register for your postal vote. Literally, you can vote for Brian for Mayor right now. Go to our website, brianformayor.london/postal, and type in your name and your address, and we'll email you a printed out version of the piece you can send to your local council. Or If you don't have a printer, we'll literally mail you with an envelope you can send to your council that form. All you have to do is sign it and put your date of birth and you're ready to go. You've locked your vote in, and it would really mean a lot to us, and we can make that change on May 6th. So first of all, before we get started, I want to hear from you. So tell me right now, wherever you're watching me, type in what borough do you live in, or what city do you live in, and what is your biggest challenge? What question would you like to ask me when I come and visit you, or ask me as your next mayor of London? Next, I want you to tell me, how have you been impacted financially by the pandemic? And do you think we need to rebuild London's economy right now? Let's talk about this. This is really important. Third, I want you to tell me this. The mayor just recorded 2 more knife crime murders just this last week. Is it time that we replaced him with someone who will make London safe, who will make our streets safe, who will put 10,000 new police officers on the ground, who will better train the Met Police and fully digitize them as well? Do you think it's time for that kind of leadership? And finally, I want you to ask, do you think it's time for an independent voice, fresh ideas, and we take London in a new direction? Would you like to have 3 more years of the same thing, or would you like some fresh ideas? And that's what we bring to the table. So before we get started today, I wanted to show you a quick video, and this is one of our awareness videos. And this one is actually just been going absolutely viral out there. I think this has been watched 1.6 million times, and it's us highlighting some of the failures of our politicians, especially in the last year. And this ranges from the current mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, all the way up to Prime Minister Boris Johnson. They are all failing us. And here is a short video explaining the detail of that massive failure. Here it is.
Our politicians have failed us. They locked down our cities. They decimated our economy. They failed to protect our elderly, and they are destroying our children's futures. Our politicians have failed us. They promised to make decisions based on science. They promised to respond proportionately to the danger of the virus. They promised to protect our jobs and businesses. They promised to make the best decisions for our long-term future. But they lied.
Blah, blah, blah. It's all good words. Why is it not fair to say that you are failing in your mission?
They shut down our pubs, restaurants, and gyms, where less than 3% of COVID transmissions take place. Why? They are closing our schools when children are 50% less likely to spread the disease. Why? They canceled 27 million hospital appointments, with 3 million of those for cancer. Why? Because they ignore the science and pursue their questionable agendas. Our politicians lied to us.
For many people, it looks as if the figures are chosen to support the policy rather than the policy being based on the figures. Jobs lost, livelihoods shattered, businesses failing. Governing is about delivering practical solutions to the problems that people face day to day.
We are now suffering the worst recession in 300 years. Millions have lost their jobs, and millions more face unprecedented levels of economic hardship. Children are starving, and yet they call for more and bigger lockdowns. Our politicians have failed us.
You are passing the buck as you always do. Do you personally, though, accept any responsibility, or is it all everybody else's fault?
We deserve better. We deserve a leader who tells us the truth. We deserve a leader who makes decisions based on science. We deserve a leader who protects our economy and understands it directly relates to our health and our future. We deserve a leader who doesn't use fear as a weapon, but instead educates, innovates, and solves problems. We need a leader who is not part of the two-party political system, with their special interests, backroom deals, and career politicians. We need a leader with independent thinking, a new vision, and fresh ideas. My name is Brian Rose, and I promise to lead us in a new direction. I am confident we can make London a world-class city once again.
So let me know what you think about that video. Please leave me your comments below. Tell me if you agree. Do you think our politicians have failed us? And I believe they have. And like I said, we are here back out on the road. I'm going to put another 3,000 miles on this bus, which is what we've already traveled so far. We're going to go to every single one of the 32 boroughs twice again and talk to as many people as possible. And I want to just shout out Lambeth and Southwark and Croydon, who are coming through today. A lot of people know Lambeth from great landmarks there, like the London Eye, Imperial War Museum, one of my favorites. You got the South Bank Centre, you got the London Aquarium, and of course, great places like Brixton, Clapham, and of course, the Oval, the great cricket ground. Southwark, going through there today, London Bridge Station, you've got the Shard, the Tate Modern, and of course, Shakespeare's Globe, and of course, Borough Market, a place we like to go to a lot. And Croydon. You know, Croydon has definitely faced some real issues, but it's also got some great landmarks. We've got, of course, the Brit School of Performing Arts. That's where Adele went, and Amy Winehouse. It's actually also the only place with trams in London. They've created the Box Park, which is a real innovative way to deal with retail spacing and a nod to some of our ideas for modular housing. And lots going on here, but you've also got some real problems here in Croydon. The Labour Council in Croydon is now bankrupt because of poor decisions that they made. And also crime here, it's really at nightmare proportions. During the 12 months to September of last year, there were 506 knife crimes in Croydon. Just think about that. 506 knife crimes in 1 year. And that's why I was here today speaking with some of the charities. I want to talk about that. The mayor has done very little about this. And people were complaining to me today that he doesn't return their phone calls. He doesn't ever come to this borough. All he does is PR moments and never actually creates policy that changes the game. Less than a month ago, police made 28 drug and violence-related arrests in 1 week after the aftermath of that spate of knife attacks that we saw across South London. And of course, there was a murder in Selhurst this weekend previously. It's very dangerous here. Croydon has the second highest number of long-term vacant dwellings in London, behind only Sutton with 1,469. This borough really struggles, and we need to talk about the issues that it faces. They're economic and they're also crime-related. And I want to talk about these things today. So first, I want to talk about how we can rebuild London in 2021. I want to abolish the congestion charge until 2022. I also want to zero out business rates until 2022 as well. And I want to create the Great Celebration, a 31-day event celebrating the best of London, 20 million people coming into this city. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Here's some artwork here that we're putting up that just gives you a little flavor as to what this is all about. And we're really excited to talk to you about this today. The next thing I really want to talk about is how we can make London safe. And the truth is, the mayor is doing an absolutely horrible job of keeping our streets safe. And even just a few days ago, you can see this headline from the Express, and I'll read it out. It's hard to read. It says, "London double stabbing horror. Police rush to scene as man killed in brutal street attack." And we've seen the mayor failure after failure when it comes to keeping our streets safe. Every single year for the past 5 years, knife crime has gone up. It's up now a horrific 28.5% in 5 years. And he has no plans. He has no ownership, he claims, over even the Met Police themselves. And he's just failed us time and time again. It's time that we vote in someone with new ideas, with a fresh perspective. I want to put 10,000 new officers on the street, and I know how to pay for it. I want to better train the Met Police and fully digitize them. I want to create corporates for communities and inject £100 million of corporate donations into these community centers like the two I visited today. And I'm going to work with Jamal Edwards, the founder of SBTV, to really highlight exactly how he's been successful in this space and how we can scale this up even more. So now I want to hear from you. Please ask me a question, ask me hard questions, and tell me, what borough do you live in, or what city do you live in? What is your biggest challenge? What's the question you want to ask me? Tell me, how have you been impacted financially by the pandemic, and do we need to rebuild London's economy with big moves like we have, like London's Great Celebration? Next, tell me, the mayor just recorded 2 more knife crime murders in last week. Is it time that we replaced him with someone who wants to make our streets safe, someone who has a plan to put 10,000 new officers on the street and, of course, make the Met better trained and fully digitized? And finally, do you think it's time for an independent voice, fresh ideas, and a new direction? So I'm going to your questions right now. Thank you so much for putting these in. I appreciate it. I'm going to start first with our website. And I've got John that said, hello, dear Brian, our future mayor. I've got one question. I'm a private hire driver, been working over 25 years. Since Mr. Khan became a mayor, we've been decimated. We can't wait to see you soon in the mayor's office. My question is, what can you do for private hire drivers regarding the congestion charge? We don't even make 50 pounds a day. From that, we pay 15 pounds. We end up with 35 pounds, and I can't even feed my kids. Please, please, can you do something about it? Many thanks, our mayor, unquote. John, first of all, I appreciate your support. It really means a lot to me. And you highlight one of the biggest problems we're facing as a city. We need to rebuild our economy. We're one of the worst performing cities in Europe. And yet, the mayor is trying to raise and extend your congestion charge. He doesn't understand basic economic fundamentals, which means you can't tax something that you're trying to rebuild and reinvigorate. And so my plan is to abolish the congestion charge for the rest of this year until 2022. And by doing so, you're going to get as many people in London as possible. You're going to kickstart business and you're going to revitalize the economy. This is so important. And this is one of my big plans as your next mayor of London. I also want to call out Judith in Havering, who asked via the website, she said, does Brian Rose have a policy to remove the policies which have decimated London's black cab taxi trade since 2015? And it's a great question. And Judith, I've probably taken your taxi home. I take a taxi home every single night. I also take them throughout the week as well. And the truth is that the mayor has been massively disrespectful to the black cab industry and to taxis in general. He has not recognized them as part of TfL, which black taxis clearly are, because they have a very important service. They pick up handicapped passengers when they have no other options in places like the Bank Junction, in places like Bishopsgate here in London. I know the issues that these taxi drivers face because I've taken hundreds of their rides over the past 6 months. Also, they've been handicapped by the mayor's street space scheme that he cooked up that really penalized these taxi cab drivers. And they've just won a high court ruling that said what the mayor did was illegal, that he pushed these schemes through during the pandemic. And so I understand the problems that taxi drivers face. At the end of the day, you're an entrepreneur just like I am. And I support businesses and entrepreneurs. The mayor doesn't. He doesn't respect business people. He doesn't understand it's an important part of rebuilding the economy. And I'm going to change that as well. Got some great comments coming here from Instagram. I got Bud Renata said, I hope you're going to win. Thank you. I got Melanie Austin that says, looking good, Brian. Thank you so much. The bus definitely makes me look good. Lee Mitchell on Instagram said, when is the debate? And he's talking about my challenge to the current mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. And I'll say it again right now. Mr. Mayor, when will you debate me? I've been asking now for over 2 months. All we're asking for is a simple debate. You can put out your version of the facts. I can put out all of the facts that show that you have failed London when it comes to keeping our streets safe. You have failed to build affordable homes. You have broken our transport infrastructure, and you have no plan to rebuild our economy. Let's have an open and honest debate, and we can let the people decide. I am challenging. We can do this anytime, anyhow, anywhere. But Mr. Mayor, let us know. I'm still waiting to hear back from you. If you want to find out, go to his social media feeds right now and say, when will you debate Brian Rose? Use the hashtag Brian for Mayor or @tag me on Instagram or Twitter or wherever, and maybe he'll give us an answer. Again, all we want is a debate, and then I want you to decide, and we'll see what he has to say. SG Pap on Instagram says, you talk about 10,000 more police. What about holding them accountable when they break the law? We need more accountability. They are not above the law because they are public servants. And you make a great point. And I was on the phone with a senior member of Metropolitan Police on Friday, and he said this. He said, Brian, we need better training for our police. I'll be the first one to say it. They are not well trained, which means sometimes they don't perform the best they can on the streets. He said, Brian, with your plan of 10,000 more officers, that will allow my officers to have 2 days per month where they can focus on training. And I'm talking about community-led training where they train with the communities they're going to police, with members of the community that go along with them, and they tell them, what do they struggle with? What makes them angry about the police? How do the police do things wrong? I was just spending time with Eliza from her incredible charity, and I just want to give her a shout out again, Lives Not Knives. And her staff said, you know what? a lot of times these police, they stop and search these kids, which we agree it's important to get these knives off the street, but they do it in a way that could be more respectful. They could take them away from their friends and family. They could have a quiet word and do it. It's just about being a little bit more aware, a little bit more respectful. The police want this too. They have a very difficult job to do. I have a plan to pay for those 10,000 officers through my infrastructure levy, which I outlined on Friday at my Real Deal in the studio. And by doing so, I will give them the time for more training. Everyone wins. The citizens win, the police win. So again, I appreciate the question, SG. And again, I'm here to answer hard questions. So ask me hard questions, and that's what we're here to do on Battle Bus Live. A couple more before I want to get back into what I'm doing here. I got Indra Red on Facebook that says, yes, love you. We need a businessman for this job. And I've heard that over and over again today. Everyone believes it's time for a business person to be in charge. I've got 30 years of experience in everything from automotive to aerospace to Wall Street to City of London to new media. And I know how to hold people accountable, and we can run this city like a business. We can run our community centers like a business, and it'll really make a difference. And I believe that's the case. I got Heather Cotton on Facebook that says 100% supporting your hard work and success. Thank you, Heather. I've got, let's see, I got Hafisa Khan on YouTube that says, you're definitely the most hardworking candidate. We wish you all the best. We can't wait to give you our votes in May. Thank you so much. And it's true. Every single day, me and my team, we put in as many hours as we possibly can to get the best ideas out there. And I met Dexter today out in the community. I didn't know I was going to meet Dexter. And he pulled out his phone and recorded me live and said, okay, Brian, what are you going to do about this? And what are you going to do about that? And I was like, great. I like being asked the hard questions. And guess what? I had amazing answers. And when I finished, he said, it sounds like you've done your homework. These sound like great ideas. You've got my vote. And that's because we've put in the work here. We've created the best policies in the game. My policies for mayor are better than the current mayor, who's had 5 years to figure them out and a massive budget and 27,000 members of staff, and yet he still can't figure out how to build an affordable house. He still can't figure out how to get our teenagers from not being stabbed on the streets. He still can't figure out how to not bankrupt our transport system. Our ideas are the best in the business, and they're better than any other candidate out there. And don't be fooled. There's a lot of candidates that are jumping into this race and telling you what's wrong with London. And that's easy to say what's wrong with London. But what are the solutions? What are your solutions to put more police on our streets? What are your solutions to rebuild our economy? What are your solutions to make our streets safer? What are your solutions to fix our bankrupt transport network? I am the one with the answers. I have more answers than the Conservative candidate, the Labour candidate, and all the other people that toss their hats into this race. I've been out here with you campaigning for almost 6 months. I've been doing this. That shows you my dedication, and that's why I have the details of how we're going to change this city. So thank you. It's a great question as well. A couple more, and then we'll get back to it. We got Andy Dunbar on YouTube that says, hi, Brian. Big fan of your campaign and your show, London Real. Good luck with the campaign. I appreciate it. And we got Snowball Crypto Economics on YouTube that says, nice name, that says, quote, change is needed and fast, fresh ideas, Brian. I love it, you know? And it's great to hear that as well. And I think someone was asking me, how do I know this is live, Brian? And so it's a great question. Well, I guess I'll tell you the exact time. It's March 22nd at 16:25. It's a beautiful sunny day here in Croydon. And I'm shouting out these comments live, so you know I'm really here with you. And I was talking to people today when I was out in the communities. I said, no other mayor is as digitally connected and as transparent as I am, and I'm changing the game. And I think I'm getting a lot more young people involved in politics, and that's what we're trying to do. So let me get into the rest of this broadcast because it's really, really important. I want to talk about some of the issues that we're facing, and let's talk about rebuilding London in 2021. I want to share with you some of these important ideas because we've all been devastated by this recession, and we can fix it right now. First of all, we need a business person in charge. Just because we're opening up the economy doesn't mean that it's going to kickstart the economy. So I know on April 12th, hair salons are open and gyms are open. That's the plan, at least. And I know on May 17th, restaurants are allowed to open. But that doesn't mean the economy is going to be kickstarted. It could still struggle for years and years to come. We need to look at this through a business lens and think, how can we kickstart the economy? How can we innovate? How can we get as many people back in London as fast as possible and do what London does better than any city in the world? We have the best culture, the best technology, the best business, the best commerce, the best music, the best everything. But it happens when we're all back in this city. And that's why I plan to abolish the congestion charge until 2022, that regressive tax that kills businesses. It hurts families, especially lower income families. It hurts any possibility we have of rebuilding our economy. So again, abolishing the congestion charge until 2022, that's how we're going to bring it back. And it's actually going to kickstart all of our revenue streams. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to zero out business rates all the way up until 2022, which means if you're trying to run a business, you don't have to worry about paying taxes at the same time. And again, you don't need a degree in economics. I actually studied a little bit of economics when I was at MIT, and you don't need a degree to know you can't tax someone who is barely surviving. And I know so many people with restaurants, with pubs, with wine bars, with other hospitality businesses that are barely making it right now. So we're going to zero out your business rates to give you a chance to recover. But the big thing that's going to kickstart London's economy, this is how we're going to rebuild everything in 2021, is my special announcement, and that's the creation of the Great Celebration. Now, you've probably seen this poster out there before. I'm going to show it to you right now. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing, and it's a beautiful, beautiful idea. And let me tell you about some of the thinking behind the Great Celebration. And let's be honest, we've endured some very challenging times over the past year. It's been very hard for us, and we've got to find a way to get our city working again. And London, we've got to be audacious. We've really got to push the limit if we want to do something big and something with a splash. Now think about it, just a decade ago, we hosted the best Olympics the world had ever seen. Remember back in 2012, that was an incredible, incredible event. I was here. It was a great summer, and we showed the world how good we are at live events. Let's be honest. Great events are in the DNA of London, and it's time to get back to those roots. Look back to 1851. The very first modern World Fair took place in Hyde Park back in 1851. It was called the Great Exhibition. And we built the Crystal Palace in Hyde Park. It was like a 6-story structure of glass and steel. And everybody was blown away that you could create such a structure, even a temporary structure. And it showed the world that Britain was leading when it comes to innovation, culture, technology, everything. And it was amazing. And here's a couple things you don't know about that, is that Great Exhibition, it actually funded itself because it made so much money. It made so much money that it went on to fund the construction of some of Kensington's famous museums. I'm talking about the V&A Museum, the Science Museum, and the Natural History Museum were built from this great event that's in the DNA of our history. I actually have a poster at home on my wall that's a fold-up pocket map from the Great Exhibition of 1851, and it's amazing to watch London at its finest, showing off to the world how great it is. I want to bring that spirit back, and we're going to bring it back starting August 1st, because it's time for London to be in the global spotlight yet again. It's time for us to bring a beacon of positivity and inclusiveness in these challenging times, and to do this, my first major action as your next mayor of London is to create the Great Celebration. 31 days celebrating the best of London's music, art, culture, food, technology, commerce, and more. We're going to get 20 million people coming into London over 31 days. It's going to showcase the best of what London does, the best of what Britain does, and it's completely going to change the game. And it's going to include free music festivals every single weekend to be hosted in some of London's most iconic parks. I'm talking Hyde Park, Regent's Park, Victoria Park, and Richmond Park, highlighting the best of the musical talent from grime stars all the way to classic stadium rock. I'm going to offer, as the mayor, free transport across bus and tube networks for the entire month of August. I'm going to streamline licensing restrictions, and I'm going to promote longer opening hours as well. We're going to have street festivals every day. We're going to have live music every single night. We're going to have food fairs throughout London featuring the best of British and world cuisine like only London does. We have the best food in the world. We're going to have technology displays showing off our world-renowned high-tech innovation skills. We're going to have theater performances, fairs, local markets, business networking events that are going to help announce to the world that London is back with a bang. We're back in business, and we're moving forward. We're going to showcase what makes this city great. It's that indomitable spirit that Winston Churchill used to talk about, and we're going to be the first mover. We're going to celebrate to the world. We're going to show all of Europe and the world that we're back, and we're going to pull in all of the tourists that are thinking about going to Europe this summer. We're going to bring them right in here to London, and anybody in Britain, they're going to think, you know what? We're coming to London. because this celebration sounds off the charts, and it's going to be off the charts. It's going to be a much needed injection of joy as well as cash to our struggling economy. And it's also going to be subsidized by the mayor's office and supported by a relaxation of red tape around licensing and other logistical barriers. And again, I want to work closely with the arts and the entertainment world that's been so neglected during this pandemic. I want to put on a party that's going to make the world take notice of London, our talent, and our ambition. And I'm so excited to welcome you to the great celebration, August 1st to August 31st. This is going to be off the charts. Please share this idea right now with your friends and family. Tell them what Brian Rose, the future mayor of London, is talking about, the great celebration. You can go to our social media feeds, or you can go to brianformayor.london/celebration. And you can see all the detail. You can share the images, and you can really get this kick-started. I'm looking for music venue ideas right now, and I'm looking for musical acts. I've already started talking to a few big ones, and so I want to get your suggestions as well. So now it's time to hear from you. Give me a comment here. If you've never commented before, this is the time to do it. I'm going to read your comment out live right now as I'm sitting here in a little bit of traffic on the way home. First of all, tell me, what borough do you live in, or what city do you live in, and what's your biggest challenge you're facing right now? What question would you like to ask me if you see me in person? Next, tell me, how have you been impacted financially by the pandemic? And be honest, please. And do you think it's time we need to rebuild London's economy with proactive steps from a business person in charge? Next, let's talk about safety. Do you think the mayor is keeping London safe? He just recorded 2 more knife murders last week. Is it time we got some fresh ideas? Is it time we got 10,000 new police officers on the street, better trained police, fully digitized police? Tell me what you think. And finally, do you think it's time for an independent voice, fresh ideas, and new leadership to take London in a new direction? I'm going to your comments right now. Just a slew of comments. I really appreciate everybody coming in here. A couple from our website. I've got Isabel here in Islington, who asked, "Hey Brian, I truly believe you will make a great significant changes for Londoners, and I'm particularly interested in supporting your plans to reduce knife crime. What are your plans to get this ball rolling, and how can us Londoners get involved to help?" Well, first of all, that's what I was out here talking about today. I want to give a shout out to Eliza, the founder of Lives, Not Knives, and she was really talking about the detailed work that needs to go on in the communities, and she really resonated what I've been talking about as well, which is a multi-pronged attack. The first is 10,000 more police officers on the street, but they're better trained and fully digitized. The next thing we do is we do my corporate for community plan. That's £100 million of direct corporate investments into 250 community centers around London. That's £400,000 each that they use to give these youths new options, teach them about entrepreneurship, teach them about digital entrepreneurship, something I'm very, very good at. I want to work with these young kids and give them other options. And I was speaking with a few of the members with Elisa today, and they said, "Brian, they need you to teach them what you know how to do. They need to know there's another option besides getting involved in the gangs in order to be successful." He said they see you and they know there's another option. So that's how I want to work with them. And I appreciate that question, Isabel. Next, I've got Gary in Hounslow that asks, quote, "Will you be going back out on the road again with the battle bus? How can I volunteer? I'm a big fan of Brian's work." Great question, Gary. We're here, as you can tell, and I'll be here every single day on the battle bus for the next 6.5 weeks until Election Day. I'm going to be hitting all the boroughs again. If you want to volunteer, and again, we really could use volunteers. We love volunteers. We need hundreds of people in the fields, passing out leaflets, making calls. Go to brianformayor.london/volunteer. We'll send you a quick form. We need you to post 3 social media posts with the Brian for Mayor stuff. Show us that you're invested, that you're involved, and then you'll go to stage 2, and then we'll bring you into the volunteer group. And I really appreciate you asking me that question. I got great questions coming in from all the people on social media. I got Hema Mangu on Instagram that says, "Yeah, keep going, Brian. I appreciate you." I've got Amsterdam17 saying, "Hope you do win, Brian. I've been following you for years." I got CMROGB on Instagram saying, "Are you planning to create more youth-friendly spaces and opportunities for all teenagers and young adults who need more inclusion and support from society?" Yes, we're trying to invest in these community centers, but we need to hold them accountable and make sure that they spend the money in a proper way and really get results. That's exactly what the best in the business in these community centers want from us. And it's a great question. We need to give our young people other things to do from those crucial hours of 3:30 p.m. when they get out of school until 8:30 at night when, say, mom comes home from work. We've got to get them new options, and I want to work with these community centers to give them those options. A lot of them are digital. A couple more questions here. We've got Rajan Nazareth on Instagram says, what does it mean to be a Londoner to you? That's a great question. Thank you for that. And, you know, Dexter was on the street with me today in Croydon, and he said, Brian, a lot of my friends are asking me, what's with the accent? You know, what's with the accent? And I think he was referring to the fact that sometimes my American twang comes out. And it's true. I was born in San Diego, California. I spent a good portion of my life in America, but I've actually spent 21 years here in Britain. I got my British citizenship in 2007, and I consider myself to be a Londoner just as much as anybody else out there on the streets. I've spent more time in London than I have in any other city in the world. My 2 children were born here in this city, and I plan to be buried in this city. This city's given me everything. I love this city so much I named my show after it, London Real. What does it mean to be a Londoner? A Londoner is this, in my opinion. A Londoner takes action. A Londoner is open-minded. A Londoner is someone who is constantly full of the best ideas, the best innovation, the best points of view. A Londoner is someone who's proud of their history and heritage, but also proud of representing their incredible city. A Londoner is someone who is not satisfied with the status quo. They always want more. They always want better. That means better performance. That means more opportunities. That means more from themselves. I find this city is a great place of opportunity. Anyone can come to London, whether it's the Romans back a couple thousand years ago, to the Vikings, to the Normans, to some people who just came here a few years ago, or their parents came here 20, 30 years ago. This is a place where if you work hard and you do the right thing, you can create an amazing life for you. Not many cities are like that. And that's what London means to me. It's a great question. We've got Helen Grasso on Instagram says, what plans do you have for entrepreneurs, women in London? I'd like to support all types of entrepreneurs, especially women, and get them involved building digital businesses. That's what we need to do with our youth, and that's what I want to do as well. We're going right by Brixton Station right here. An amazing, amazing neighborhood. I love Brixton. I love this area here. Went to a bunch of music performances out here in Brixton. I really appreciate the people out here, and it's great to be here really on the ground with everyone and to know what's actually happening here. Got a couple more questions here, and then I want to get back to the broadcast. I got Angus Smith on Facebook that says, Croydon should have a knife amnesty, be free from criminal charges if they hand in the weapons and start talking what we need to do to change things. Angus, I think these are great ideas. I think we need to talk about amnesties. We need to talk about ways to get people to turn in their knives and start picking up things that give them other opportunities. I think teaching young people how to start businesses, real viable options, as opposed to a life with gangs, is a way forward to our future. And I want to teach them. I want to empower them. And I think these are all great ideas, but an amnesty is not enough. There has to be more than just that to move forward. And that means more officers, more community centers, more investment, as well as things like amnesty. So I appreciate that. Just going by Brixton Academy. That's where I saw the Jurassic 5 back in the day. Big shout out there. And I appreciate everything that goes on in all of these incredible boroughs of London. It's what makes London great. A couple more questions. I've got, let me see here. I'm bouncing around here, but I got this. Oh, Noah asked the question everybody was asking on Facebook. How do you feel about running as an American for mayor of London? And like I said, I want to bring what so many other foreign people brought to this city, which is incredible ideas and innovation. And I want to add to that incredible milieu of wonderfulness. A lot of people don't realize that our current Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, was born in America, that Winston Churchill was famously half American. And so I look forward to doing my part to bring greatness to the city. It's given me so much, and I just want to give so much back as well. I got Talk Sense on YouTube that says, wow, I just saw you drive past my house on London Road in Croydon. Yes, we are out here representing. This is not a green screen. I got Jed Clark on YouTube that says, Tottenham knife crime is too high. How will you change that? Jed, the same way as I just spoke about it. 10,000 new police on the streets, better trained police, digitized police, and 100 million pounds into community centers to really make a change and hold them accountable. That will do the job. That will make a massive change. Or you can have 3 more years of increased knife crime and a mayor who won't even bother to come out to Croydon and talk to the people that are helping on the ground. Those are your 2 choices. We literally at a fork in the road right now. You've got 3 more years of this, or you've got new ideas. You've got a fresh perspective looking at London through the lens of business, and someone's going to shake it up. That's what you need to decide right now. I got Tommy Barish on Instagram saying, Brian Rose bringing style and class to London. Thank you so much. Steve the Greek on Instagram says, yes, you are definitely a Londoner. I am. And we got Wendy Collier on Instagram saying, I don't live in the UK, but sleep better at night knowing there are people like you in the world. And thank you, Wendy. I appreciate you. The truth is, I think what we're doing for London could be rolled out in cities all over the world. Let's show the world what we can do in London. And I think the other cities in the world, I'm talking about New York City, I'm talking about Frankfurt, about Madrid, Sao Paulo, all of these cities can look what we're doing and roll it out in their countries and have success. Let me get back to my final point, and that is talking about how to make London safe. And we'll have to start off with a headline it's very sobering. And this was in the Express, and I'll read it out to you. It's on screen right now. London double stabbing horror. Police rush to a scene as man killed in brutal street attack. And these things, unfortunately, have become so commonplace that we don't even think much anymore when you hear about a knife attack, when a teenager that's been murdered on the streets. This is unacceptable. The current mayor of London refuses to address this as he's out there campaigning for your vote. What he does is he seems to drop a press release every day or two with a meager amount of funding that he throws at various issues as a PR opportunity that he is actually making a change. But Mr. Mayor, 5 years show that knife crime and violent crime have gone up every single year as mayor. I can't imagine what's going to happen all the way up to 2024 if the people decide that you should stay in power. And it's gotten to an incorrect and a horrible level. And, you know, one thing I want to do is I want to play this video for you. And this video is one of our awareness videos that, again, has been watched now hundreds of thousands of times. It's really going viral, and it really highlights the mistakes that the current mayor of London is making when it comes to knife crime. Here is that video now.
Our current mayor of London has failed us. Our city is no longer safe. Our citizens walk the streets in constant fear.
Knife crime is going up. People are dying. 2 people in London in the last few days.
Just weeks ago, the 100th teenager was murdered since Sadiq Khan took office.
The reality, Sadiq Khan, these numbers haven't just edged up, they have rocketed up. And people now are waking up every day thinking, is my child going to get stabbed in the street?
Last year, knife crime rose by 38%, and murders have reached an 11-year high. Our current mayor campaigned on promises to make our streets safer, yet our capital now has the highest rate of knife crime in the country, more than double the average for England and Wales.
In the last 5 days, 4 people, including 3 young men, have been stabbed to death in your city on your watch. Why is it not fair to say that you are failing in your mission?
Recently, the overall murder rate in London surpassed that of New York City for the first time in modern history. Even Sadiq Khan has admitted that his poor performance on knife crime has left him sleepless. But it is us who are growing tired of his excuses, as children admitted to hospital with stab wounds has soared by 93% in 5 years. Sadiq Khan promised to get tough on violent crime. Sadiq Khan promised to focus on knife crime. Sadiq Khan promised to make London safer. But he has failed on all of these promises.
Blah, blah, blah. It's all good words, but if people are getting stabbed on an almost daily basis to death.
Instead, the current mayor blames the government, while our children are dying in the streets. Londoners deserve better. We deserve a safer city where we can raise our children out of harm's way. We deserve a city where our citizens can walk the streets free from danger. We deserve a city free of the fear of knife crime. To do this, we need to take London in a new direction. We need real leadership. We need more and better trained police. We need new community-led crime prevention strategies to address the causes of knife crime, not just the horrific results. It's time to make London safe again. My name is Brian Rose, and as your next mayor, I plan to make London a world-class city once again.
That video is a shocking video to watch. It's heartbreaking to see some of those screenshots and some of those pictures of mothers that are mourning and the deaths of these teenagers, and it's unacceptable. But it's what the current mayor has done, and if we allow him to be reelected, it's 3 more years of that. And so let's talk about real, practical changes so knife crime actually decreases and we can really make changes, and that's what I want to talk about today. My plans to make London safe are quite simple, and yet they're not being done right now, and the current mayor has no hope of doing that because he doesn't look at London through a business lens, and that allows me to do this. So my first policy is to put 10,000 new police officers on the street. Again, I've spoken with senior members of the Metropolitan Police Force about this. I've fully costed it. It's going to cost us £300 million per year, and I'm going to pay for that with something called an infrastructure levy, which allows TfL to be paid a small amount of the massive gains that they create by building incredible transport infrastructure. This will allow us to fund these new police officers. And so, again, 10,000 new officers on the street allows the current officers to now have 2 days per month where they can focus on training. And I was just speaking with people in Croydon today, and they said the problem is these police aren't trained and they don't represent our communities. So we need police from the communities, and we need police that are trained in stop and search, that are trained in these community-led hands-on training exercises. This is going to make the massive difference when it comes to policing our streets and making our youth more comfortable with the police on their streets. And we fully costed this. This is practical, and I know exactly how this is going to be implemented. And like I said, I've got senior Metropolitan Police officers that are on my side with doing this. But next we need to fully digitize the Met Police. And the unfortunate truth is a lot of these frontline officers spend 1/3 of their day on paperwork. And I'm not kidding you. It's literally people writing down paper. And I actually have some experience of this. When I was stopped and detained and fined and banned from campaigning in the borough of Southwark only about just 2 months ago, it took those police officers hours just to write me a ticket for something quite simple. And so it just goes to show me how much time is wasted. And this ends up hurting us because these officers don't get the training involved. They waste a lot of money that could be used for policing our streets better. So just digitizing the police itself will actually pay for itself and take our police force to the next level and will help us fight knife crime. But it doesn't stop there. And even though 10,000 new officers would radically reduce the gang activity on our streets, because just the police presence would lower that activity and would make knife crimes go down, would make kids going into gangs as less of an option. But we need more. We also need to rebuild and build our community centers. And we're doing that through my plan called Corporates for Communities. That's £100 million of capital injected directly from companies like Amazon, Google, Uber, HSBC, Barclays Bank, right into the community centers. And this is for 250 community centers in every single borough of London. And we give them the money and we hold them accountable to get the key performance indicators that we need to see in order to make sure our youth have other options than being on the streets. This is something that has already been done before by our good friend Jamal Edwards, the founder of SBTV. He's raised hundreds of thousands of pounds from private companies to fund his community centers in Acton. It's a great model. We're just going to take it to the next level and literally put 100 or 1,000x on that and make sure that we can get the capital needed to inject into these community centers. I spoke with people on the ground today in Croydon, and they said, yes, Brian, we agree. Your plan is exactly what we need. We fully support what you're doing, and I appreciate that. And this is how we're going to make our streets safe. These are practical things I will do as your next mayor. I guarantee if you go with the current mayor, he will do none of these things. He has no plans to put more officers on the street. He has no plans to even be qualified as being responsible for the police, even though he is directly responsible for crime in the city. And yet whenever we see a crime or wherever we see a problem with the police, he throws his hands up and says, that's not me. Again, you can have more excuses, more press releases, or more incidences of the mayor running away from the voters of London, which we saw him do near Enfield the other day, as he literally ran and went hiding when he was asked some simple questions for some people that had a problem with his low traffic neighborhoods, which we'll talk about later this week. That is your choice, or you can have the choice of a business person who wants to take London in a new direction, rebuild our economy, and has some real plans to make London safe. So I want to get your questions. This is the last time. Again, if you've never asked me a question before, ask me now. Share this video, whatever platform you're on right now, share it with your social networks. If you're on Facebook, share it on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, share it on Facebook. Share it with all your social platforms, share it on your WhatsApp groups, and tell your friends, hey, there's something different about this guy, Brian. I think you should listen to what he has to say. This is something I've never heard before because no one's ever talked about this before. And I want you to answer these questions. What borough do you live in? What's your biggest challenge? What question would you like to ask me when you see me out on the digital battle bus? Also tell me, have you been impacted financially by the pandemic? And do we need to rebuild London's economy now? Next, tell me about the mayor. Does he keep our streets safe? We just saw 2 more murders on the streets of London. Do you want more of that, or do you want someone who can put 10,000 officers on the street and raise £100 million for our communities? That's what I want to know. Answer that question right now. Next, tell me, what's the question you would like to ask the mayor if he didn't run and hide when confronted from the voters? What would you like to actually ask that mayor? And finally, tell me, is it time for new ideas, an independent voice, and a new direction for London? That's the question I want to ask you right now. So going to the questions right now, again, I really appreciate all the people taking time right now. If you've never given me a question before, ask me right now. A couple from our website. To start off, I've got Cassiano in Brent, who says via the website, I moved to London last year, and this year I registered to vote just to vote for Brian. Thank you. Goes on to say, I would like to know if there is any way I could help or volunteer with some work. Kind regards and rooting for you to win. Thank you, Cassiano in Brent. I really appreciate that. And yes, there is. You can go to brianformayor.london/volunteer. If you haven't registered to vote, first of all, you can vote via postal. Or if you want to register to vote, go to votefirst.london and you can do that. And I appreciate you. And I got Pavel and Havering who said via the website, quote, I would like to volunteer and distribute some leaflets in my area to support you for your campaign. Please let me know what to do. And a great question, Pavel. Go to brianformayor.london/volunteer. Again, we ask you to fill in a quick form. I need 3 social posts sharing one of my pictures, one of my videos. Submit that into a form and we'll review that work, and then we'll try to bring you into our volunteer group. And it's a great place to be. It's a lot of fun. You get a live call with me every single Wednesday night, and it's a great place to be. Couple final questions. And again, this is your last chance to ask me a question, so do it right now. I got Zuleika on Instagram that says, what are you going to do about rent and living costs? It's a great question. And I don't have time today, but I have a plan to build 50,000 new affordable homes by Christmas. And I was out in Croydon today and someone said, by Christmas? You mean this year? Yes, I do. And they said, but wait a second, the mayor, he promised to build 400,000 new homes in 5 years. I said, yeah, and how many has he built? I said 12,000 homes in 5 years. I'm gonna quadruple that output in 5 months, what he has been able to do in 5 years. And that's the difference between the two of us. I'm gonna look at this through a business lens. This is modular housing, which can be constructed very, very rapidly in a matter of days on land that's already owned by TfL. So this is something that can be completed and will be completed right after I become mayor on May 6th. So great question. I got Yellow Sunshine on Instagram, says, what political icon do you look up to for motivation or guidance? Well, you know, you heard me quote Winston Churchill earlier with that indomitable spirit that Britain has. And it's something that's always impressed me about this town and something that I've embodied as I become a Londoner. That indomitable spirit. We don't let things hold us down. We don't let tough times define us. You know, there's that great expression, you know, hard times make hard people. And that's what I think we're having here right now in London. And we're going to bounce back. And with my great celebration, we're going to show the world that we have the plans for the future. We're rebuilding our economy. We are optimistic, and we're going to take things to the next level. I got Chris on Instagram that says, you guys need to get Brian in there. If you want someone to get it done, it's him. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. I got Jonathan Lakin on Instagram that says, you have great ideas, but these things cost money. What is the budget for adding more police and training? It's a great question. I said that earlier. £300 million it costs for those officers. I've fully costed this with the infrastructure levy. I've fully costed everything that I'm talking about here because I understand how to run London like a business. And I know how to pay for these things. When it comes to digitization for the police, it actually pays for itself. We can spend £1 billion to digitize the police that over the 10 years will actually pay for itself. And so all we need is the direction and the belief to make these investments, and we can make it happen, and it's going to pay off massively. I got Robert Caputo on YouTube. It says, hey, Brian, Business Accelerator graduate Rob Caputo here. I fully support you and would love to help you on your campaign and show you the truths of your mentoring. Much love from Arizona, United States. Thanks, Rob. Great to see you. And Rob is one of the over 5,000 students that I've trained inside my London Real Academy. For the past 10 years through my show, London Real, we've had 500 million views of our content. We've changed millions of lives around this world. I've built thousands of businesses and podcasts. I know how to create change on a community level, and I know how to hold people accountable, and Robert's one of the many people. So thank you, Robert. I appreciate you. And yes, you can volunteer for us. Just go to the website and do it just like everyone else. I really appreciate that very much. I got Derek Chico on Instagram. It says, if Sadiq remains in office, I'm moving to a different country. Derek, I couldn't agree with you more. We've got to vote for change on May 6th. Vote for Brian. You can make this happen. You can post a vote right now. Share with your friends and family what we're talking about here. And I got Shuko Sturk on Instagram saying about the Great Celebration, this is so cool, man, unquote. And I agree. When people hear the Great Celebration idea, they think it's absolutely incredible. I got Starter Partner on Instagram saying, I haven't seen you around London. Where are you campaigning? Look, if you want to go to our website, at brianformayor.london and click on the bus icon, you can find out every single place we're going to be for the next coming weeks. You can come see me. You can also join me live here. You can come and meet me out on the streets. We're really looking forward to seeing as many people as possible. You can submit questions for me live here on digital. And again, I'm here for you. And I just want to say in closing, I am the only candidate with real policies that are going to change London. And like I said, you see a lot of people out there that toss out a policy line, or they'll tell you that something's wrong with the city, but I don't see them coming up with solutions. And I run a business every single day. I have for the past 10 years. It's called London Real. And I tell my team this following thing: don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. Any goofball can bring problems to the table and say, this is what's wrong with London, and this is what the mayor's doing wrong. Why not bring us a solution? If you go to my website, brianformayor.london, you see detailed policies of how I'm going to change this city. You've just heard some today with the Great Celebration, with abolishing congestion charge and zeroing out business rates. You've seen 10,000 police officers on the street, better trained, fully digitized. I know how to pay for them. You see £100 million on my Corporates for Communities plan to kickstart our community centers. These are real ideas. I know how to hold people accountable. I am the only person who can make these changes, and I am the only person who can beat Sadiq Khan on May 6th. He knows it, I know it, and now the voters know it too. Now we just need to make it happen. So I need your support. Share this video right now. Share everything, hashtag Brian for Mayor. If you see one of my outdoor posters, take a picture of it. If you see the bus, take a picture of it. We're giving out free cups and free t-shirts to anybody who takes those pictures. Volunteer for us, donate. We could use your fundraising. Post a vote right now and tell your friends and family. Say, hey, check out this guy, Brian Rose. There's something going on here. This is what we need, someone to shake it up with an independent voice and a new idea. And I would really appreciate that very, very much. And I just want to say thank you so much. It's great being back out on the bus. It's great talking to real Londoners about real issues. This is where it happens, out here on the ground. And we're going to keep doing this. Last time they tried to stop us. The mayor tried to stop us. The police tried to stop us, but we kept on fighting. And that's what makes us different than the other candidates. We've been doing this for almost 6 months. And I promise to keep doing this until we get change. So thank you so much. It's my honor to serve you and to talk about these ideas every day. I appreciate you. Like I said, help us. We're going to need everyone's help. We've got a big task on our hands. We're going up against some big machines in these parties, and we're going to need all the people out in the street, the Brian for Mayor army out there supporting us. So do your part today. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time on Battle Bus Live. Take care.